evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fan Experience Podcast. We are coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn Live, and Twitch. Welcome all who are joining us for the first time, and welcome back all of you returning viewers. We had a great episode Tuesday night. We got another 2 great episodes starting with this one tonight. With a 3-episode week for the first time ever. So, as always, I am your host, Mike Kados, and alongside me is my co-host, Rick Molina. Rick, how we doing?
Doing good tonight, Mike. Show 2 of a big week of a 3-show series this week, so I'm looking to get right into it. Talk a little NBA draft, a little NFL. We got Seahawks and Cardinals right now, 7-0 Hawks. DK Metcalf with another touchdown. But yeah, man. Excited to get this show started, man. So let's get to it.
Absolutely. And, so I'm kind of glad that I stayed away from the Cardinals. I mean, it's still early on. And Murray, obviously,
they're going
magic.
There
it is. Oh, okay.
He's at the one.
So
on second thought,
I just didn't, but I didn't feel comfortable about it.
All right, fair enough. It's all good.
And nobody picked them in the Survivor, either side. So I'm just gonna go with probably either the Vikings or the Chiefs this Sunday, and hopefully nobody from my Survivor pool is watching right now, and they don't get some inside information.
There you go. A comment should pop up shortly,
but this should certainly be an eventful game. And, obviously coming off that Hail Murray, it's just unbelievable. Like that was just a few days ago.
It felt like, right. It was just like last Sunday. And now here he is playing again. So
yeah, with the free Jumpman advertising, just by the catch alone. And
but I gotta say, NFL
memes,
man. Exactly. NFL memes, man. I mean, they are ruthless when they do these memes. Funny, but ruthless.
Yeah, they're definitely on point, and it's no wonder that they've gained a tremendous following.
Yeah, count us in, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the NBA draft, we have a special guest on tonight. We're not going to go too crazy into the NBA draft. We'll talk to him about it when he pops on, but we will break down a couple of things. But I want to just at least touch on the $24 million that the Mets found this past yesterday. Robinson Cano with his second performance enhancement suspension, and as people that watch the MLB know, after the first one is half a season or 80 games actually, and then the second one is a full season. So he will be suspended without pay this coming year. They have a vacancy at second base. They can plug in Andres Jimenez. They can make that trade for Lindor. And try and figure out something there in the middle of the infield. There's been talk about Rosario being on the way out, like deleting things from his Twitter and whatnot about Mets. I mean, that's just the way of the world now, right? These players, they just pretty much it's kind of like a breakup. It's
right.
Because Facebook, people delete pictures of their exes, and it's like they never existed, and now you got
out of sight, out of mind, man. That's the way to go,
But
cut it right off.
I know, but it's just crazy that the professional athletes sitting there doing that. I know Le'Veon Bell did that, back in the day, and Antonio Brown and things like that. But it's just funny that that's the way of the world now, even in professional sports. But the Mets found $24 million, and somebody asked Steve Cohen on Twitter. He's like, "What are you going to spend it on? Are you going to get bullpen cards?" He's like, "No, I'm going to spend it on players. The bullpen cards are going to have to wait." So I loved how this guy is sitting there. He's engaging with the fans out there. He's engaging with his players. And money aside, just because he's richer than anything as far as MLB owners go, I like the fact that he's bringing this fun-loving culture to the team, and that's really what excites us a little more than just the money aspect. But you can have your thoughts on Cano and the latest developments there.
You know, it's amazing. And he was saying that a doctor in the Dominican Republic, you know, prescribed him something for a medical ailment, but with so much money on the line, I don't care how much money you've made. Like $24 million is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. I don't care what state you're playing in, with tax bracket, whatever. That's a lot of money for these guys. For Cano, after all this, after all that baseball's gone through, the protocols, the testing, whatever, for him to do this, think he can get away with it, and yeah, thank you, Donnie, and think he can get away with it, and then get caught, and it's like that's $24 million, man. Like, you know, I don't know what these guys are thinking when they think they can just, you know, they can just do something and think that they can't get caught of it. I sometimes I wonder if it's like a mentality that like I can do what I want. I don't know what it is, but that's just a lot of money. But look, it's good in a way. The Mets need to move on from Cano. He's 38 years old. He's not the same player that he was before. They got to get a bat over there. My boy DJ LeMahieu, who the Yankees better not even think of letting go, is lurking out there. And you know Cohen, man.
I mean, there's definitely talk.
Yeah, right. So you know Cohen, man. He's going after players because he wants to win. And so they're going to be aggressive out there. But I
mean, he's got the checkbook to do it.
100%.
It's just a matter of where they want to go. But
yeah,
so you know, I mean, LeMahieu, doesn't affect me, you know, one way or the other with him.
Right.
You know, but like Bauer, you know, I definitely want to get him because I just like his attitude, and I think he would fit in the clubhouse.
100%.
Yeah, but let's.
But again, that was just I don't know what he was thinking, man. That was just stupid. It was stupid. That's all you can say.
Yeah. So let's not spend too much time on the Mets. We're gonna have plenty of time in the coming weeks.
I mean, for him, the good news is he's got $48 million in coming for the next couple of years. So I guess that offsets it. But whatever. You know, it's stupid.
Yeah. So let's break down a couple of the first picks of the NBA draft real quick. You know, so the Timberwolves, you know, went out and took Anthony Edwards from Georgia.
Yep.
Warriors took James Weissman from Memphis.
Yep.
And then, you know, number 3, you know, who everyone thought was going to go number 1, but, you know, Michael Jordan and his Hornets went and scooped up LaMelo Ball.
Yeah. You know,
okay, you say something and I'll.
I was just gonna say, you know, I think that's the guy that they wanted, a ball handler, a guy, you know, the attitude, you know, the sort of confidence that he plays with. I mean, he hasn't played in college. Obviously, he played, I think, in Lithuania, and he's been on this roller coaster ever since. I think the only thing you have to worry about with him is maybe not so much the game, but all the stuff that goes with the ball, you know, with a ball brother, right? You know, LeVar Ball and all his comments. Remember, he said he could beat Jordan one-on-one or whatever it is. I guarantee
they're sitting there.
I guarantee you, Michael Jordan's gonna be like, all right, now we're gonna play one-on-one.
Yeah, let's go, right?
Yeah, that competitiveness that the man has.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that worries me. That if you're a Hornets fan, you'd be concerned about. But overall, I think it was the guy they wanted. They got him, and I think the first 5 picks of the draft kind of really went according to script. I think from what the experts are talking about.
Yeah.
You know, the Bulls got what's this kid's name? Number 4,
Patrick Williams
at Florida State.
And Cavaliers got Isaac Okoro.
So look, I mean, a lot of people were saying there's not a generational talent in this draft, but I think a lot of these teams kind of got what they needed. You know, and so we'll see how it plays out. I mean, the training camps are going to open up pretty quickly, right? It's going to be probably next month. They're starting the season on Christmas, right? Yeah, it's going to be a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how everybody adapts, but you know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so you know, we will talk more B-ball later. We'll talk about more LaMelo Ball later, but right now we got to talk about more important balls. Your balls.
Yeah.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for your partner this holiday season? We have the perfect package for his perfect package. The Perfect Package 3.0 by Manscaped is the number 1 recommended gift all year long. Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 3.0, which is the best men's below-the-belt grooming trimmer, which can also be used on any part of the body. Hairy chest or back? Look no further. Hair down there, the Manscaped Lawnmower is designed to reduce cuts and make for a smooth trim. With their 7,000 RPM trimmer, helps reduce manscaping accidents around the world. In addition, you'll get liquid formulations such as the Crop Preserver, which is ball deodorant, and Crop Reviver, the ball toner, and reduced chafing boxer briefs. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free. So you know your manhood is in good hands. So save 20% off right now, plus get free shipping with the code FANEXPERIENCE at manscaped.com and give your testes the besties with Manscaped.
Yeah. I never knew that, testicular shaving cream was vegan, but that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again for Manscaped for sponsoring the program. And now joining us is Mark Scott.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Mark, how you doing, man?
Thanks for the Manscaped segue. I appreciate
Well, we got to talk about B-ball, so we have to talk about
we do what we can around here, man.
That was a seamless
transition.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so thank you very much for coming on. It's a pleasure having you on.
Yes, sir.
So we connected a few days ago, and glad to get you on the show. So tell us a little bit about your background in the love of sports and where that love of sports started for you.
Oh, sure. Thanks again. I'm an ex-athlete, Mark Scott, from Brooklyn, New York. Played basketball, football, baseball. Really from my dad. My older brother played baseball. My younger brother was like a left-handed pitcher. He went to Little League World Series.
Wow.
I played basketball and football up until about first year of college. That didn't work out. But then I started being more interested in like front offices, stuff like that. And really just, growing up in the 90s when basketball, you can actually foul people hard. Football where Ray Lewis was hit sticking folks, but really just grew up playing sports, grew up in locker rooms, grew up in a competitive household. My mom didn't really play sports, but she was taking us back and forth to baseball, and then you got to switch the cleats and you got to switch to different pants and stuff like that. So that's really where the love came, just being immersed into sports.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we could definitely attest to that. So, I mean, obviously you're from Brooklyn and you grew up a New York Knicks fan. Obviously me and Rick are both Knicks fans, and it hasn't been a fun journey, but, talk to us a little bit about, your ups and downs over there.
So the thing is, as far as like starting recently, we're being normal, which I'm okay with, but I'm still like nervous. Like everyone that's like a free agent today is like, are we gonna throw money at them? But fingers crossed for all of us. Like we drafted well, in my opinion. I like Obi. He's like a Kenyon Martin type dude. Quickly the guard. I wanted RJ Hampton, but I'm okay with Quickly. And we got cap space. Right, like I'm fine with that. But the Knicks, my first memory really was 94. I mean, I might have been like 5 years old. I just remember my dad and everyone on my block my dad was a Knicks fan, and everyone else was going for Jordan. But Jordan retired that year, and retired quotes. And then we went to the finals, and that was like the OJ year, just all that stuff. But that was my first recollection of sports. But then I was a big Sprewell, Allen Houston dude, Chris Childs. I love the Knicks, but as y'all know, loving the Knicks comes with stress, anxiety. We the laughing stock. Then Twitter came out, so now the whole world is like making fun of us. You know how it is.
Listen, Mark. Thanks for coming on again. Listen, man, don't worry. I was the guy. I went to a Christmas party about a year ago, And I was the guy at a party who bet 3 people $20 that the Knicks would make the playoffs at the time. So,
oh God, I do that too, though.
I'm the guy, but I want to talk about, because I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I mean, I got Knick pajamas. Yep. Somebody give me Knick pajamas.
Yep.
I want to talk about 90s Knicks, because that's where I grew up watching Xavier McDaniel and Anthony Mason, Doc Rivers when he was the guard. Tell us, but 99 was a big year because you talk about Sprewell in Houston. I know where I was watching when Larry Johnson hit that 4-point shot. Where were you when Larry Johnson hits that shot against the Pacers and Larry Bird is looking like what just happened?
I remember I was in like my living room in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
And like people got to realize, like the younger audience got to realize there was no social media. It was like social media was newspapers the next day. So if you missed the game, you done missed it.
Yeah.
So we in the living room after dinner. We all know the game's coming on, and we're all down. We're losing. Larry Johnson hits the shot, and like we're screaming, like yelling to the top of our lungs. And then I always remember this. Chris Charles was like telling him to relax.
Yep.
And my dad was telling us like, he still got to make the free throws, but like we don't care. We just know he hits the shot and stuff like that. Kids don't care about free throws.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember that, but I also remember when Allen Houston hit the shot against the Heat.
Oh yes,
that was crazy because I believe that's what made us go to the finals. That was a lockout year. That was a big shot too. But the LJ. Chris Charles. I remember the Jeff Van Gundy fights.
Yeah.
I love that dude, Jeff Van Gundy.
Yeah, those are some great teams, man, when they battle with the Jordan Bulls, and obviously that Eastern Conference Finals where Charles Smith didn't dunk the ball. Remember that one?
God.
But what would you say is your favorite sort of Knick team? Is it would you say the 94 Knicks that with Ewing in them, or was it like the Camby, Latrell, the late 90s Knicks with LJ? I mean, which team would you prefer there?
That's a good question. I think you got to go 94 because they got the closest. 99 was like 8th seed. We weren't supposed to be there, but I like the Mike Woodson 2017 Knicks. Was it 2017?
No, wasn't it 13 they went to the playoffs? It was 2013.
13. Wow.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't 17.
It wasn't 17, trust me.
It definitely wasn't 17. 1917, maybe.
17. I like that team because we literally had like Carmelo, Stoudemire, and like 6 old dudes. Like Rasheed Wallace came out of retirement and was like dropping buckets. But
Jason Kidd was on that team.
Jason Kidd. Yeah, that's the year we amnestied like Chauncey Billups. I was mad about that, but it's the Knicks, right?
And what are you gonna do, man? That's being a Knicks fan, man. That's all it is.
What's your favorite?
Me personally, so I love the 99 Knicks, but I grew up watching the 94 Knicks. Pat Riley coming with that tough mentality, right? Ewing at the center, Stark stumping the ball in. You had Doc Rivers at the point. Then you had Derek Harper, man. He was like one of the better point guards
Harper
had, right? They had Rolando Blackman.
Yeah,
they had Rolando Blackman coming off the bench. They had Charles Smith. And they should have won that series against the Bulls and they lost that game 5. And they should have beat the Rockets, but they didn't. But that's like my diehard favorite team. My favorite player, it's obviously Ewing, but I Larry Johnson, man. The L. The L. That's what it is, the L. I remember the LJ. But yeah, no, I love the 90s Knicks. And then actually 20 years of just pure hell ever since, man. It's like you get amped up for the first game of the season and then it goes straight to hell. And you're like, all right, what's next on TV? So that's my thing.
Mike, what about you?
I always have to resort back to those ragtag teams and the ones that just get it done and just work together as a team. Not really where there's like superstars, but they just all work together and mesh together. That's why it was exciting to watch the Heat, this year. I'm not a Heat fan by any stretch, but it was exciting, and it's fun to watch those. And I'm a Mets fan, so like I'm used to like not having those superstars and having it all mesh together and get to that end goal. I mean, I never actually seen that end goal live and in person. You know, I was 1 year old when they won their last World Series, so so that's been a while. But I always like that underdog mentality and that ragtag bunch, and I will always resort to that over anything else. And you know, I don't know, I maybe I'm alone, but you know, I always like Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, me too.
Know. Yeah, so you know, like he was fun to watch and
gritty.
Yes,
exactly.
Gritty, man.
Gritty.
Yep. Exactly, and that's really what I always go back to.
The dude came off a suspension after he choked his last coach. Like,
and we just Carlissimo in Golden State choked him out.
We were like, yeah, we want that dude.
Yeah, there you go. So I see here, you know, we ask everybody on the questionnaire that we got, you know, if you have any pregame rituals or superstitious things, and you said you can't watch games on DVR, you have to watch it live, and I completely agree. Like, you know, I don't understand it when people say, "Oh, I got the game taping. Don't tell me anything. I'm gonna go watch it." I'm like, dude, like, first off, now you're in the world of social media. How are you going to stay away from the results of a game? Like, how? And I never understood that. You know, like, where did that, like, did you come across people that do that? And that's really what made you answer the question in that way?
So, like, you know, as you get older and, like, I'm a Giants fan, so, like, Sundays are just like, what are you doing on Sundays? Like, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm watching the game. And then people are just like, can't you just tape it? And I'm just like, no, I cannot. And it's like, hey, don't tell me what happened. And like, I just can't do that. And it goes back to what I said. Like, when we grew up, it wasn't technology. Like, you watch it and like, you're going to see it on the front of the paper and you're like, damn, I missed that. It's not like you can go to NBA TV and replay it, right? It's like, you missed that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have many sports pet peeves, but that's one of them, right? Like that's just one of them. I have to watch it live. If I missed it, I missed it. I'll catch a highlight nowadays, like this Thursday Night Football. I'm not really interested in that game per se. I'll just catch the highlights. But I have to watch, especially my team, I have to watch it live. I'm not the type of person that, like, if I don't watch it, they lose type of thing, but I just have to watch it live.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not, you know, I'm not going to argue with you there because, you know, I really don't understand it. You know, when people sit there and do that, it just makes no sense to me.
It's like I think it's relying too heavily on technology. Like, I get it. Like, some people work on Sundays. They got, you know, children, family. But for me, if I can, I gotta sit in front of the TV, watch it, scream at
a referee.
Daniel Jones and the coach, and why you running the ball, and I have to do all that's part of it. If I did that to the DVR, that would feel so fraudulent. Like I'm yelling at a person that he did this already, right? Like I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on Sundays, and you know, I just find any way to do it. I'm not going to sit there and you know, we're talking back in the TiVo days, and I'm sitting there with a flip phone, so it wasn't even smartphones, and there was numbers that you could text message to get.
I remember
updates, to get updates on. So like, you know, I just did anything that I possibly could to find out what was going on, because I'm not going to sit there and work the whole day and then go home and watch a rerun of, you know, or a recorded version of the game. I'm like, no, when it's 2:00, I want to know the updates. When it's 2:30, I want to know the updates. And I really that would have to be a pet peeve in my book as well. You know, those people that sit there and, you know, swear by DVRing and can't wait. You know, so it makes no sense.
Not true fans. DVR is not true.
Yeah,
fans.
You figure it out, and especially now, like, you know, you can. There's so many options on how to catch up to, you know, what the games are up to. I mean, you know, millions of ways. I mean, you don't even have to have, you know, your phone out. Like, you could sit there and have, have the radio broadcast in your ear at this point, so there's really no excuse to not watching it live, or at least listening to it live, or at least watching the play-by-play on, text format or texting a number.
I remember that. That's funny
to us older cats. Yeah. I mean, I was sitting there, I know there was one day in particular, I sat there and I had like a 10-team teaser, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I want to find out, what's going on. I ended up like 6 for 6 in the 1 o'clock games, 3 for 3 in the 4 o'clock. And it was just came down to Monday night. I hedged the bet and I won the whole thing. But it was, I had to just, find out exactly what was going on. So, moving on from the gambling and the DVRing side, we said, we asked, how a sports fan, the lifestyle changed your life in any way. So we'll segue that into like kind of what you're doing now, but how did sports really build character for you, and what are the things that you've learned through being a sports fan?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a mixture of like being a fan and being an athlete. It teaches you all these things outside of the game, like obviously hand-eye coordination, all this physical things it helps with, but it also helps you build, like you said, character, perseverance, a brotherhood, when you're in the locker room and on the field, like race, creed, all of that stuff is just like out the window, and you're just competing. And I think like for the casual fan that watches sports and see these athletes, like their celebrations, you saw the bubble celebrations and stuff like that. That's a real thing. And then that segues into work and personal life, and you don't have to be an athlete to know like it's important. Teamwork is important. Communication is important. And I learned all that starting at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old on a team of like discipline, and the coaches yelling at you, but it's not in a derogatory. Well, hopefully it's not in a derogatory way. It's building character and discipline. And that same thing goes with a fan. I feel like in a funny way, you gotta have loyalty to your team. Like I'm looking at you, Brooklyn Nets fans. You got you gotta work. We talk about work a lot, and people got to realize, like for me, like as I think Mike said, I'm going to be a sports agent, right? And it's like you got to take away their salaries and their occupation and just realize that they're employees, right? Like they have a job, they have a contract that they sign, they have to live up to these expectations. It's the same thing with the accountant that works at Walmart. Like there's just things you got to follow. You should get better every day. Like all these cliches that, these Nike commercials say, it's the same thing in our everyday life. Nike just makes it look good. And LeBron's salary, Robinson Cano's salary. You just don't know the person sitting in the cubicle next to you, their salary, or you don't know the person. And it doesn't have to be just work. It could be in your personal life, the people that you see every day. But sports built a lot of that up for me, that I deal with like adversity, of course, outside on the court, outside of the court, but it just builds you up. I think, especially now in 2020, like diversity is a big thing, right? And I think I've played sports with people from different parts of the world, parts of Brooklyn. We know Brooklyn is a melting pot. I think sports just brought us all together. It still does too now. Like I saw the bubble. There's people talking about like the ratings for the bubble, but I think more people have been watching basketball, whether you like it or not, like the messaging, football, baseball. I know I just got into women's soccer when the women went to the World Cup, just bringing all these different backgrounds together. I think soccer is going to do that too. I'm trying to get more into soccer just overall, but soccer is bringing like that international audience. But yeah, that was like the long version of the answer. I'm just like,
no, that was perfect. And, honestly, pretty much word for word is the exact, mentality behind playing the field. I talked to you about it the other day, and literally the motto is there's no team without a mate. So it's all about,
like that.
It's all about that team mentality. And like you said, even, personally, professionally, romantically, you learn a lot of these things. If you're going to date somebody that's a sports fan, that they're loyal to their team. So that loyalty factor is already baked into their, to their personality and to their, their lifestyle and their core. So, that's why I feel, that we needed something like playing the field. But I'll let Rick take the next question.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to know how, there are a lot of things you can do in sports, front office, there's ticketing sales or whatever. But what made you decide that being an agent's the route that you want to go to?
I think I'm still a baller, a hooper, at heart. I think I resonate with that side more. But it's funny, in my day-to-day job now, I'm a career coach. I work in HR, so that's more of the front office, I would say. And I always side more with the employee, which in the future case would be a player. We see the player empowerment now. I like that. Race is a big thing. A lot of these athletes are from the inner city. I could relate to them more so than the GM. Not saying that I would say the NBA is doing the best job of diversity with GMs. But we could definitely strive more. But I think as soon as around 19, my first year of college, when I knew my quote unquote career was over, I automatically just knew that I wanted to work in sports. I just didn't know exactly where. Now, having jobs and having a different career, I kind of figured out because at one point, Rick, I was thinking of I wanted to be in the front office.
Yeah.
And then I finally segue hey, I think I fit. My skill set is better off on the player side, right? But we all know we got to collaborate both sides. A negotiation is literally that.
Yeah.
Right. That front office person, that scout, that marketing person. I'm the voice for the player. And I tell people all the time, all these players could be their own agent, 100%. It's but does this player want to sit there and read the CBA and work on sales tags and the real estate in the city that they're going to work in? No. So that's why they pay you a fee to do that. And I think that's why I like the logistics of that. We all just see these numbers and we see the Rich Paul numbers and stuff like that. They make an agent look so glamorous, but it's really the number that the team is going to pay them, that's great, right? But it's all that back end stuff that we have to do. If anyone on here has moved from apartment or a house, that's just a little taste of what an agent does, right? Yeah. It's you think you have everything under control because these salaries are so high, right? Let's not sneeze at that. These are very high salaries, but it's the logistics. I like logistical stuff, and I like relationships. That's the biggest thing. I like relationships. Platonic, romantically, all these relationships. You have to be good at that. You have to like people. I know that sounds cliche, but not everyone like people, right? Not everyone is.
That's true. Yeah.
You hear that, kids? You have to like people, but
I deal with people every day. Trust me, love them.
Rick's good people.
But yeah, just and a lot of these. I want to change the game, and it is changing too. Of just the suit and tie agent that's just talking all this legal money jargon. I actually want to help you get the best contract. I want to help you in the best situation. I want you to help your family, but I also want to get a beer after we do all that, just the three of us would. You know what I mean? So that's to answer your question. I did want to work for the front office, just like any kid in their 20s. I was just hey, what does the NBA career site say? And then I was learning more. I didn't know that they had coders for the. I was learning about all these different things, and I finally put my finger on. I'm gonna be an agent and build those relationships, and hopefully I'll be back on here next year talking about my clients being drafted.
Yeah, we're gonna have you right before the draft next year,
Absolutely,
and be like, all right,
man.
Who we got? What are you,
Right.
where are your clients going? Where do you see them going? I would absolutely love that for sure. And a few weeks ago we had Michael Raymond from he represents a few ball players. So I got to connect you to, you could share some stories between the two of you, and try and learn from each other.
That's a good point. Can I just bring up a point about that? That's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel like in sports, like let's say all three of us are agents, I still think we should have a relationship. So people take competition sometimes out of context. Like we can all be competitive, but I can still shake your hand and say good game whether I win or lose. I just wanted to throw that in because there's like a misconception with like agents and like being like cutthroat and all.
I'm sure there are cutthroat ones,
right.
But for the majority, like you're both in the same game. It's no different than LeBron playing against Jimmy Butler. I mean, it really is no different. So 100%. It's really it's about the sportsmanship, and some people definitely get lost. Maybe it's the ones that are making a little bit more, and they lose sight of that that ground level where they started from. I don't want to speak too much on it, but because I don't want to paint anyone the wrong way, but there's obviously many factors that might throw them down that other road, and but at the core you got to remember you're the same person at the you both started at the same exact spot, and
100%.
and you have to remember those things, and I think that's important in any relationship, any profession.
Yes.
You don't sit there and poo-poo on the janitor because he's a janitor. It's not like you were like this rock star when you first started out. I'm sure there's people that were born silver spoon and whatnot. Like you see some of those people, but when you can remember that humbling feeling when you were down there, don't lose sight of it, and that's what I hope. That's what is going to make this world better and running better is if everyone realizes that, and hopefully with playing the field, we want to make sure that core and that whole like the emotion that it all brings, it just evens everyone out and puts everyone on the same playing field. No pun intended.
Well said.
Yeah, but you do have to be realistic in your business because, right? Like, I mean, you got a lot of guys there. You get a great talent, and somebody's trying to poach them, bring the percentage of fees down and what have you.
Yeah.
So you do have to keep an eye out for that.
Right. I'm not mad at that. Definitely. Like, if we're on the battlefield, to use the pun, if we're on the battlefield, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, there's some agents that won't even speak to you. Like, if an agent's been doing this for 10, 15 years, I was just saying off Mike's point, like I would love to connect with that person.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
We could learn anything from each other, but a lot of times we don't send the ladder back down, is what I mean. Like we don't send the ladder down to like, hey, this is how I beat you.
Good analogy.
This is how I beat you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get it.
This is word.
Yeah, let me ask you. And so, wow, just lost my train of thought. So you're as far as your practice, is it going to be focused on NBA? You mentioned women's soccer. You mentioned there are other leagues out there, NFL, Major League Baseball. Is it particularly NBA, or are you going to be sort of an all around kind of an agent?
I think I want to. I'm going to be an NBA agent. I think when it comes to training, though, I want to train all athletes. Like that's another part of the business that I want to get into. Yeah. For like an everyday, the combines type of things. I think it's all synonymous with the training part. But as far as like being an agent, I feel like I want to be A+ at the NBA. Right.
Got it.
Eventually, if I want to partner with somebody in the NFL, baseball, of course, I would do that. But for now, I just want to be an NBA agent.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go with your passion on that end. So, talk to us a little bit about, what's next from here? Like, what kind of tests does it involve? What are the steps that you're taking now, to be that representative that we're bringing on next year to have your players drafted?
Yeah, so for me, so to be an agent, the MBPA with the Player Association, they give out a test. The test is on the CBA. Excuse me. I was pretty much ready. It's given once a year. I was pretty much ready last year,
Okay.
study wise, but I wasn't ready. Like in my life, like I was working a different job. There wasn't a global pandemic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
Well said. Yeah.
so that happens, and so I registered already for the next test, which is supposed to be January, but right now obviously it's TBD. So I'm fingers crossed that still goes through. Maybe they'll push it to March. So once you're certified, the day that you're certified, you can sign a player. However, there's no one, even for the relationships I already have today, the likelihood of that happening is slim, right? So then, but that's when you can start, I hate to use this word, but poach, like you can poach players and stuff like that. Right now, I cannot legally say, hey, Rick, hey, Mike, I'm an agent. Can you introduce me to your nephew? You can introduce me to your nephew as Mark, but you can't introduce me as an agent. So once I'm certified, then it's full throttle. However, it's like it's very ambiguous, right? You're an agent now, Mark. Congrats. Here's your certification, but they don't give you any. There's rules to it of how you sign a player.
Yeah.
But there's no like tutor. They're not gonna give you like a hey, like go to the gym and watch people and give out a business card. So that's the fun, challenging part. I think one, being in the market that I'm in, B, just the relationships I already have now. I have some ideas that once I get certified, I'm going to go for. But for now, it's just continue to study. I've been studying for a while. I got like some study fatigue, but now I'm just getting back into they have like an amendment because of the bubble and stuff like that. I'm just getting familiar with that because I actually want to be a good agent. There's because a lot of you can pass this test. Like the test, that's not the hard part. The hard part is like, okay, like, hey, I want you to be my agent. Can you go get me a deal? And I actually want to be good at that. I want to be exceptional. So, it's just right now, it's just patience, just like all of us. I should have said at the beginning, like, I hope everyone that's listening is safe, as safe as they can be. So you too as well. I'm just being patient and waiting for the PA to notify me on the date of the test.
Yeah, that's all we can do. And now we're gonna, we're getting hit with that second wave, and it's rough. But yeah, everyone, please stay safe. That's the most important part of it all. And but talk to us a little bit about obviously you went through the CBA last year, but talk to us about how you felt the NBA handled it with the bubble, and what you're looking forward to kind of like next year with after the draft and with your Knicks too.
Yeah. So it's funny. That's a good question, because now I'm starting to be less of a fan and more of like, this is my occupation. So I understood 100% of like why they needed to go into the bubble. Like there's this thing called BRI. I won't bore you with it, but it's basically all the revenue from the gates, from everything that the stadiums bring in. Like that was very important to the CBA, right? And right now, this CBA is a very, very lenient one. It's like almost 50-50 between owners and players. And there was like a rumor, like if it gets squashed, it's going to be like 70-30 and stuff like that. So that would have definitely impacted not only me as an agent, but obviously the players and a whole bunch of stuff. I think the bubble was good. I thought the basketball was better than I thought it would be. But it's kind of like, it's funny how sports is like the team that won was supposed to kind of like, we have these narratives because there's so many shows on First Takes and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, like the team that was supposed to win kind of won. I think Sorry, what was the draft and the Knicks. I think the draft went well. Kind of feel bad for the kids that like didn't get the right experience. Like I was watching some of the stuff and it was just like, granted, you got drafted, you're an NBA player, right? But like to walk up and talk to it used to be David Stern, now Adam Silver. That's like important for them. And then they're gonna go into this training camp, which is in a couple weeks, where like the veterans don't even really want to be there, and you're like a 19-year-old rookie that needs training camp, needs summer league. There's no summer league, like you're playing.
Yeah.
Like Obi's gonna start a game or play a game on December 22nd, right? I think the draft, but NBA is one of the most lenient and player focused leagues. That's another reason. Not only do I love basketball, I have a passion for it, but that I can't say the same about the NFL. To be honest with you, like the NFL is a little. I don't really like. Like I read their CBA a little bit. I don't really like the stuff that they do. I get it. The sport's different. It's more violent, but I think the NBA does what they can. They listen to their players. You know, for anyone out there like at your regular job, like that's important, right? Like you go to HR, you go to the CEO, like they're supposed to at least listen. That doesn't mean you're gonna get everything you want, but they at least listen. You can tell like they're listening and saying like, okay, like I'll meet you halfway. There's a compromise there. I just hope like the Klay Thompson news was sad, you know.
Yeah.
Achilles, right? Yeah.
Yeah, on draft, like the morning of the draft, right? Like that's just sports is like reality TV, so you can't write this stuff.
Did they pivot? Like, did they pivot on the draft pick? Like, were they looking at somebody else and then they went and pick somebody to replace him?
I think they got their guy. They got Wiseman from Memphis, barely from Memphis. He played like 3 games in Memphis. He got he got in trouble for some NCAA violations, but I think they got their guy. Klay, I think Klay impacted what they were going to do after the draft. I think they were going to package maybe like they have a trade exception. For those of you that know about that, it's like basically like a credit. They have like a credit, $17 million. They just used that on Kelly Oubre though, like right before this call, maybe like a couple hours ago. But the draft is very, very intriguing. There's a lot of, I would love to, even though I want to be an agent, I would love to be in like the war room of just like calling the picks in. I'm pretty sure all fans do.
I would love to, sit in on a war room one of these days.
In the Jets war room, see what the hell's going on in there. But yeah.
Oh yeah, football is another one because football you can get value like up into the last pick, right? Like you can. Yeah. Basketball is a little different. It's hard to be a second rounder and like crack the, the seal. But NBA is doing. I think they're doing a good job. I'm not just saying that because I want to work with the NBA, but I think they're doing a good job. The basketball is good. I wasn't a LeBron guy really, but I just respect the longevity, to do that for that many years, I respect that. Somebody said Miami, their team, I like that. I was kind of like, I don't care who wins type of thing. It was a good narrative either way. Pat Riley, obviously, with the Knicks ties. But I think the basketball was in the bubble was as good as it could have been. No defense, but I remember like Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell were like taking turns scoring 50 in their series. But it was entertaining. I watched a lot of the games. Good distraction too.
Yeah. Well, Mark, man, great story. Thank you for coming on tonight. That was great.
Thanks for having me.
You have an open forum when you blow up and your players want to come on before the draft. Bring them on right here, man. We're waiting.
I'll let y'all grill them. Let's
before the team. Do it. We'll play our part. We'll play our part. For
this guy. Wait, how does it go? This guy.
I appreciate y'all, man. Stay safe again. Stay safe. Keep this up too. I love it. I spoke like Mike said. We connected a couple weeks ago, and I liked what he said on the phone. But like, I really like this. I'm gonna share it as much as I can.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And you got a home here again. You want to come on? You just let us know.
Yes, I would take you up on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll shoot you over. I don't know if I did already, but I'll shoot you over his our Mike's contact info. You guys could share stories and stuff, about representing players. So
for sure.
All right.
Be good, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate you coming on. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Man, when these guys become agents, man, they get players. We're gonna have a busy show, dude.
Yeah, he's gonna be he's gonna be good. He's got the right attitude, and that's what you need. That's what you need. So it was a pleasure having him on. And looking forward to speaking more and more in the future for sure. Absolutely. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, we broke the news on Klay Thompson. That was going to be news and notes, but yeah. Torn Achilles. What do we got going on here?
Right now? We got 13-7 Seattle at Arizona. He tried to hit DK Metcalf.
11 seconds left at the end of the half. No, but Seattle has the ball.
Yeah.
But Seattle has the ball though. But they're already in the red zone, so they could.
Yeah, let's see what they do here. It's gonna be interesting here.
They could probably, score there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we can, go down the list a little bit more on the draft. Anybody really stand out to you that you want to chat about? I mean, I guess I'm that's not like my foray.
Same here. I mean, look, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I bleed blue and orange. I love the Knicks. For all those Knicks fans out there, Obi Toppin. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he's like, he reminds him of Amari Stoudemire. Can face the rim, plays above the rim. He can shoot. I was watching some highlights that he can shoot a three, so he can space the floor a little bit. But some people are saying, you know what? You got Julius Randle there. You got Mitchell Robinson there. You got him there. I mean, where are you going to find the spacing? So I think Julius Randle might be the odd man out, and I think so because the guy just turns the ball over every time he touches it. But the Knicks now need a guard, and there's a gentleman out there by the name of Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
They got $40 million in cap space, so they dumped a bunch of guys. If they can find a way to get that guy, man, you got a little squad right there. You got some experience, you got some young guys. I mean, it'd be nice. So let's see what they can pull off. But overall, I'm happy with the Knicks draft. They're in the right direction.
Yeah, they made a couple of draft pick trades too last night.
They were moving. But that story, you mentioned that Klay Thompson thing, that's terrible, man. The guy he's just coming off a torn ACL, right? Heals the ACL, training, pops an Achilles, man. I mean, that's just brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you never want to hear that stuff.
No.
You never want to hear it. And especially for somebody, as talented as Klay Thompson, it's a hit to the league.
Of course, yeah, 100%, man. Because you love watching those guys shoot the ball and all that stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it's starting very soon.
A month.
What do we got? A month and a week. And that's crazy because it just ended. So
right?
it's kind of cool though. I mean, obviously we're not hoping for anything like this to ever happen again.
Yeah. But do you think they're going to do I don't think they're going to do a bubble again. No, they're going to play in their arenas, right?
I think it's still up in the air, and it's
What do you prefer?
I think they're gonna play in their arenas,
right.
But it's gonna be the fan thing, like we're seeing with the NFL, and we were seeing with the MLB, and no fans allowed. Obviously, MLB allowed it in the postseason with those neutral sites. But yeah, it's really gonna be up to the individual teams. And being that they're indoors, obviously the risk factor is a lot higher. So you really gotta be careful with it, unfortunately. And
but that's why
I feel. I mean, I haven't been to a basketball game in a while, but I always felt like the seats there were very condensed because it's it's a smaller. You don't have a huge stadium like you do in a football game or a baseball game. Like you're in a building. You're in a building, so you can only really stretch seats out for so far. Obviously, you could do a reduced capacity, and that's what they're gonna do. But
here's the thing. Let me ask
it sucks because what we're dealing with right now. It just it's messing up a lot of different things. It's not.
All right. So let me follow up with this. Right. So you don't have the bubble, right? You're playing in your own arenas. Some states are letting people in. Some states aren't. Are you letting people in? Is the NBA going to be playing in, deciding to let people in certain states in these arenas that are enclosed?
Well, I mean, let's think about,
especially with where the pandemic is right now, where it's starting to really just burn like hell throughout the whole country.
Well, I mean, let's think I'm pretty sure the Knicks are not allowing fans.
Yeah, then I think the East Coast teams, I think we could say.
But if you're Miami, just say the Knicks were, right?
Okay.
What's stopping somebody from Jersey, who is a 14-day quarantine zone right now,
right,
to take a train to Penn and go to a Knicks game?
Exactly.
What's stopping and how are you gonna know? Like, you can check IDs. Like, you could just say, oh, well, no, I'm, whatever. I mean, you're not gonna sit there and check IDs and do all this stuff. But yeah, I think like you said, the East Coast teams, it's gonna be like the Texas, I'm sure like the Mavericks or something like that. They probably will open it up.
Yeah. Florida, they don't care. They'll just let anybody in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Florida said they wanted 100% capacity for Dolphins games. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, they're a little out there with their recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're just gonna have to see how it plays out. I mean, we still got a month and a week.
Yeah,
but I don't see I don't see how even 2021 with a second wave coming right now, and the vaccine is still kind of like up in the air there. There's mixed reports on it all, and I hope that sports get back to normal sooner rather than later. But obviously, safety is priority number one, no matter what.
Well, I think there's going to be a vaccine. I think the first 20 million doses I was reading today was going to be at the end of December, and they're going to start rolling it out a lot more in 2021. So I think Q2 of 2021, or April, May, I think we're finally going to start putting this behind us, really,
So we're talking next football season as being the first sign of normalcy.
Yes,
you're thinking.
I'm 100%. We will be at MetLife. We will start doing I think by the summer, I think it's safe to say on this show, and I can go out on a limb here, that we will do our first show at a Met tailgate this summer at the parking lot at Citi Field.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to still try to be pushing masks or whatever, but I think more and more that'll start to alleviate itself. Yeah. Summer 2021, we'll be out there, beers, people, play the field, whatever that thing I don't even know what it's called anymore. That'll be out there. The poster, we'll be out there.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. We're looking forward to having all of you, join us and, talking to us about your fan experiences. That's what it's all about. We want to get everyone, together on the same page and bring people together and show everyone that you're the same person, at the end of the day, and you share all the same, the beliefs and passions and lifestyles, as being a sports fan, and all the other stuff is, just
meaningless and secondary and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, meaningful at the core, and, you can build off of that. So,
I forgot that portion of the show. The interview is brought to you by playthefielddating.com. If you're looking to meet your MVP, start a softball league, or just join the sports community, go to playthefielddating.com and find your MVP.
Absolutely. It's on the web right now, and the mobile apps should be out within the next few months as well. All right, everybody. So this was another great show. Thank you again to Mark Scott for coming on the show, and love the aspirations to get out there and become this, NBA agent and build relationships with these players. Major kudos to him, and thank you again for having him on. And
tune in tomorrow night.
Normally, this would be a signing off for the weekend, but we have another show tomorrow night.
Special
9
guest
p.m.
tomorrow night.
9 p.m. Eastern. We are going to save our parlay picks for tomorrow night's show. So until then, everybody, have a great night and see you right back here tomorrow at 9 p.m.
And make sure you go to playthefielddating.com. Don't forget.
Yep. And
good night,
here
everybody.
is
Peace.
another word from our producers. Have a good night.
Do you want to meet other sports enthusiasts like yourself? Playing the Field can help you connect with people who love sports as much as you do. For friendship or romance. You can showcase up to 5 of your favorite teams on your profile trading card to make it easier to find fellow sports fans. Now you can talk about sports, go to the games, or play sports with others who share your interests. Find out more at playthefieldnow.com.